We're so busy trying to be a perfectionist on this path that we don't realize a very, very subtle truth. You can only meet the teachings where you're at. Now, the yogis set forth a step-by-step path for our spiritual evolution, our spiritual development. And any good step-by-step, authentic spiritual path is ultimately bringing you closer to God, to truth. It's creating a pathway for that separate sense of self in mind to begin to relinquish control and settle into the true nature of ourselves. And the teachings and the frameworks are very, very powerful. Don't get me wrong, but they are multidimensional in their nature. And what I mean by that is this. The yogic tradition teaches us that we have 5 bodies. Yeah, not just this one, 5 of them. And this isn't just a concept. There's a big difference between conceptual understanding and true understanding. And the difference is you experience it. It's this experiential wisdom that makes the difference. So I'm going to talk about the first 3 bodies today, so you can just understand this a little bit conceptually, and then we'll go deeper into the video. The first body, the outer sheath, that's your physical body. And translated from Sanskrit, the literal translation of this body is the food body, which makes sense, right? You eat a banana, you eat a piece of bread. Whatever you eat turns into this body. That's it. So this physical sheath is just an accumulation of the food that you've eaten, which gives real credence to the saying, you are what you eat. Now, the second body is the energy body. When you connect to your stillness, your presence, you can feel that subtle vibratory hum of the inner body. This is your pranic field, your pranic body. Prana means energy, by the way, just in case you didn't know. And that's also affected by the food that you eat, right? You eat a Big Mac, your energy feels low. This is your energy body. And that's how you can experience it. It's a felt quality. But then there's another body, and this is what they call the Manomaya Kosha. This is the mental body, the mental sheath, essentially the mind, but it also extends to the emotional body too. So mental and emotional body. Now, let's say you're given the most powerful teaching that could set you free in an instant. Let's say hidden in this teaching is dimensional coding that could instantly set you free. And there are these teachings. However, if we're overly identified, which a lot of humanity is at the moment, with our mental, emotional body, which we are, right? The thinking mind. The I that speaks, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Most of us aren't even conscious that we're doing that. Of course, you guys are. But the general consensus reality, the collective, hasn't really gone beyond thinking. So that's how us humans live. We just think, and that's it. So if we're overly identified with that mental and emotional realm, which we are, then the teaching, the framework that could completely set you free can actually only be seen, felt, and understood from the perspective of that place from which we are identifying with. So the ultimate teaching of all truth that could penetrate your heart so deeply and change your life and change the very fabric of your being in an instant is taken in on the mental level and is understood, therefore, conceptually, which is good, right? We don't want to negate this because all part of good learning starts in the first instance by conceptualizing something, by understanding something from that mental sheath. However, the teachings need at a certain point to penetrate deeper. Well, they don't need to, they can. And this requires us to develop our awareness, to develop our energies, isn't it? And this is why we use sadhana. Sadhana is just your daily spiritual practice that sensitizes deeper layers of you so that you can become available to deeper grace and deeper understanding and deeper experiential wisdom. There aren't any shortcuts. We have to disentangle ourselves away from the strong identification from the mental and emotional field to receive teachings on any deeper layers, isn't it? That makes sense logically, but it also makes sense experientially. So if you're finding that the teachings are really resonating with you, but they're only really landing on a conceptual level, well, then we might need the technology of sadhana to take these ideas a little bit deeper. Now, I don't recommend that you do your spiritual journey DIY bit part on YouTube because whilst there are some very, very, very good teachers, it's not really done in a step-by-step way. And also now with the advent of AI, they have AI has taken over the internet. And it can lead to lots of traps, lots of deep, deep misunderstandings about the path and really what it's about. We see the rise of manifestation culture that we've been talking about a lot in the last videos, and spiritual materialism, which is just born out of a culture, westernized culture, projecting its own values onto the spiritual journey, which it was never about at all. Spiritual journey was about freedom and liberation inside of yourself. And what we're liberating ourselves from is exactly what we've been talking about. The identification or over-identification with the mental and emotional sheath, because this is where all the suffering happens. So as we begin to disidentify with that misery-making machine in the mind, also the teachings can land deeper and penetrate at deeper levels of our being experientially. And this ultimately is what undoes those knots, those psychic knots inside of contraction that we feel. In the tradition, we call these granthis, and that's what sets us free, because freedom is felt, isn't it? Oftentimes we think, oh, freedom means externally. No, it doesn't. You can't control the external world. And even if you did control the external world to be exactly the way that you preferred it, then you'd be attached to that. And if it changed or moved, you'd be in misery again, because the identification with the emotional body and the mental body would kick up to such a degree that you'd be scrambling not to lose the perfect image that you'd created in the world, the perfect circumstances. This isn't freedom. This is the spiritually immature ego's version of what it thinks freedom is. But freedom's an internal game, and it's felt. When you know that whatever happens to you in life, you're going to be okay, and it's going to be okay, this is true freedom. But paradoxically, we're extremely attached to our own limitations at times and our own preferences for things to be a certain way, that level of freedom is very rare in the human kingdom. Very, very, very rare. Anyway, if you want to try some sadhana to begin engaging and sparking that inner aliveness inside again, it's totally free. You can find it on my channel. And yeah, I hope this video helped you, but that's all I've got for you today. Lots of love. Bye-bye.